and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. This channel is going to be mainly about test-driven development, different things you can do with it, and I'm going to be focusing on some coding katas that are suited for test-driven development. Throughout the process, I'm going to tackle, I guess just say that throughout each program, or there's not really going to be a difficulty level. I'm just going to tackle them, as I see fit. But for the first one, we're going to do FizzBuzz, which is a pretty easy one, but this helps us get the fundamentals of TDD down, or test-driven development. Without further ado, let's go. Now that we are at my computer, I'm going to be using a website called CyberDojo. This is basically a simple way to do programming. Let's get this started. You can do multiple languages, with multiple frameworks that use testing. But in this case, I'm going to do C# and Unit. And like I said, I want to go do the FizzBuzz. All right, click OK. Take us to another window. This is the rules, but I'm pretty. So we're going to write a program that prints the numbers from 1 to 100, but for multiples of 3, print fizz instead of the number. And for the multiples of 5, print buzz. For numbers which are multiples of both 3 and 5, print FizzBuzz. And so this is our expected output that we should have. But with CyberDojo, there is no, an emulator, I guess you could say, that actually outputs this. So we're going to have to know, what to put in this test to make it work. So I want to start by getting rid of some of this extra stuff here. All right, so they're always going to give us a failing test to start with first, or at least an example. So normally when you're doing test-driven development, you want to write the test first and run that test, and knowing that that test is going to fail because that's how you set it up. But in this case, this is going to fail because, let's take a step. So we are putting in, we want 42 from hiker.answer, and that's in our .cs. So 6 times 9 is not that, it is 54. So when we run that, we're going to do test and wait for it to load, and it's going to tell us fail. So that's what we want. So our expected, the 42, is in our test class right here. So this is where we're going to put what we want to display. Now we could also go in and write variables for expected and actual, but to me, the least code, or the less code you have, the better. So let's go back to our, where is it? Right here. So we want 42. So we're going to go back to our hiker.cs file, and we're going to refactor this, and we're going to do 7. Of course, 6 times 7 is 42, and then when we run this test, and it passes. And now we are expecting 42, and we got 42 from our class hiker.answer, which is our method here that gets and returns 42. All right, now starting with the FizzBuzz challenge, I'm going to get rid of this. Get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to rename it for the action within, hold on, where's the, oh, here we go. Okay, so we have, first one we want to test is for multiples of 3 that print fizz. So multiples of 3, so I'm going to go here. So multiples of 3 that print fizz. All right, now here, we know that we're going to be expecting a string that is fizz, and we are going to be calling our hiker dot answer, and we know that we're going to have some type of parameter within that So we're just gonna put in 3 or pass in 3. And then right now we are going to get rid of this also because this is not right according to our test. So, or our problem, excuse me. All right, so hiker.answer. Property or index must have at least one accessor. So what this is talking about is line 6 in our hiker.cs. So where this ends right here at 6, there's nothing within our bracket, so we're gonna have to go ahead and refactor this. Now a pure TDD person would have tested for the class first, but we're just trying to just tackle the ascent of this right now. So in our test class we have a parameter. So we know that in our hiker.answer we're going to have to pass in a parameter here. And we are going to pass in an integer, and we are just going to call that, let me just say num. And then within our logic, we can do always the simple, like the most simple thing that you could possibly do to make a test pass. So so right here we're going to do return fizz. Now this is the most simple thing that we could possibly do. So now we're going to go back to our test. I'm going to run the test. Okay, so this is good. It's okay. So can I implicitly convert type string to int? So this is good. All right. One thing I forgot to change is our return value, which is not going to be an int. We're going to be returning a string. Oops. We're going to be returning a string there. Forgot about that. So we're going to factor and we're going to test again. All right, so now it's saying that this test has now passed because the only one that we're doing at the moment is 3. All right, now we're going to go back to our rules again. So we have 3 fizz instead of the number of the multiple. Okay, so now multiples of 5 print buzz. All right, so now we are going to go back to our test class. I'm just going to copy paste this. I don't want all that. Copy paste this, copy. So do another test. So we're going to do multiples of 5 that print buzz. All right. And we want to change this one here to buzz. And that parameter that we're passing in a method, we're going to insert integer 5 into it. And now, as we go to test, we are going to test it or run the test. And we're going to see that we got fizz, but I suspect it was buzz. So now we're going to have to go back to our test class and add a little bit more, our hiker.cs class, and add a little bit more to this. I'm just going to get rid of this right for now. And so there's lots of ways to do this, but I'm just going to use some if statements for this. So you're going to do if num is divisible by 3 and has no remainder, we are going to return fizz. Oh geez, sorry about that. And that takes care of our first one because now we have 2 options. We're gonna have to take care of those exceptions. And next I have an else if right after that. And this is going to be for our most recent one, or numbers that are, let me see, so multiples of 5. So if our num is divisible by 5 and no remainder. We're going to return buzz. And we're gonna end that. Now we're gonna go back and we're gonna test to see what happens. Error. So not all code paths return the value. So go back to hackers.cs. So we have an if and else if, but we have no else. So essentially our problem or our program would break if we were to display, all numbers that aren't handled in this exception. So we are going to have to do an else. Whoops, the bottom here. And within that else, we're just going to return num dot to string. So if this is false, and else if is false, it's just going to hit this else statement right here, and that's going to actually, if this had an emulator built into it, it would actually return each number that was not handled by our if and our else if statement. Now let's go ahead and run this. All right, so now we have a working problem. All right, now let's go back to our instructions. So for numbers which are multiples of both 3 and 5, print fizzbuzz. So we're gonna go and we're gonna write another test. So do another copy paste. Right here, so multiples of 3. And I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna add 5 right there. So here we're gonna have to do a little bit of thinking. So multiples of 3 and 5. Just to keep things simple, let's go. Well, actually, no, we have to work on this test first. I'm sorry. It's really easy to get ahead of yourself and doing this and not working your test first. But remember, always work on your test first. So 3 and 5. So we're gonna have to think about how are we gonna test for 3 and 5 with one number? And we're gonna ask ourselves, what number goes into 3 and 5? And I would say that is 15. And that would be able to test for 3 and 5. I'm gonna go ahead and run our test. And it passes. And that passes because I forgot to change this. Oh, what am I doing? So we're gonna do fizzbuzz. Whoops, kind of got caught up for a second. So we're gonna try and test that again. All right, there we go. Starting to lose myself for a second. All right, so now this does not work. And our expected was fizzbuzz, but we only get fizz. Now we're gonna go back to our hacker class, and we're gonna do right after this last else if, we're gonna add another one. Got another else if. And actually I'm gonna go down here to our options and do toggle syntax highlighting. It just makes things a lot easier to see. All right, there we go. Now we're going to we're going to try to handle this exception for both of these. So what I'm just going to do is copy paste this one into here. And I'm going to use our binary operator. And so it evaluates both of these. And copy paste this one. Put that one in. Let's get rid of this extra space here. There we go. And we are going to return here fizz buzz.
All right, now let's see if our logic goes through. So we're going to go ahead and run it. All right, and it does not. Let's see. All right. Let's take a second. Let's make sure our test is right. So 15, that's right. Multiples of 3, 5. Actually, you want to change this to fizzbuzz right here. I'm just now seeing that. Okay, multiples of 3 or so that equal fizzbuzz. Okay, all right, so there's nothing wrong with our test. Let's go back to our hiker. Okay, so I'll see what's going on here. So for 15, 3 is going to go into 15. So it's going to hit this, and this is going to be true, and then it's going to break out. So what we want is this last else if here. We want this logic to be put above, because we want this to be evaluated first. And then I want to take this and I'm going to cut this, bring it down here, and put that down there. So now this is going to be the first thing that we evaluate for 15, and then numbers that don't are going to be evaluated by 5, and or numbers that are divisible or not divisible by that are going to be handled by 5 and 3. Let's go ahead and just run our test again. Okay, so now we have another fail. What's going on here? It's 8 equals 4. Strings differ at index 4. What is going on here? Okay. Okay. So when I did this, I didn't change things around like I should have. Okay, so this fizzbuzz here, whoops. This should not be here. This should be up here. Fizzbuzz. Multiples of 3 should be fizz. Multiples of 5 should be that. So let's run a test again and see what's going on. I do apologize for that. And this should go through. There we go. Alright, sorry about that, guys. But at least you guys get to see, I guess, the thought process behind this. It is an easy problem. I haven't done this in a while, actually. But these tests allow you to split these problems up into small little pieces. And it enables you to, break down the problem and think about, the easiest possible way to make these tests, pass by writing the smallest amount of code. That's personally why I love TDD. But that's it for now. Hope you guys enjoy the content, and I will see you in the next video. See ya.